Hello friends, welcome back to our channel. Welcome back to another video. My name's Shakima. Hey y'all, how y'all doing? So I'm going to do a second part to the Q&A. I was trying to find my questions on YouTube and it kept saying I had comments, but when I was clicking on it, it would not show me any of the comments. And I was like, but it says there are comments there. So I finally was able to get them to show up, but it was after I filmed the first Q&A. So I'm going to go back and film a second Q&A because there were some additional questions up there. So I hope this answers some of the questions that you have and actually gets you familiar with who I am and why we do what we do. So let's see. One of the questions says, I know you did the big chop on your hair. It looks great on you. Are you going to keep it short for when school starts? Absolutely. I have to travel now for my job. Before, when I was working at school, I lived 6 minutes from my job. Now my farthest school is 50 minutes from my house and they start early. So doing hair is not something that I have time to do. Now, I used to have extremely long hair. What you have seen in the past is short hair for me. I used to have hair mid-back, kind of like Alana's, and I chopped it off when I was in high school, and it has grown out. I chopped it again, it's grown out, chopped it again. I like short hair. It just works for me, and so I'm happy with it. I've tried to grow it out for different reasons or different people. Alana doesn't appreciate short hair on her mom. But this is my life and my body and my hair and what I have to do to it. So I like it short. It's easy. I jump in the shower. I give it a quick wash. I put a leave-in conditioner in it. I'm out the door. No problem. And whenever I need to go to the barbershop, because I just go to the barbershop and I do a little edging up and I keep it moving. This works for me. So yes, I will keep this throughout the school year. Unless the Lord says different, then I'll do whatever he says. The next question says, by being a school teacher, what made you decide to homeschool? So I've kind of answered this on the first Q&A, but I'm going to just elaborate a little bit. I am a public school teacher. I have always been pro public school. I was that person who said I could never teach my own children. And the one reason that we decided to homeschool was I wanted the kids to have a Christian-based education. I wanted Christendom to be the platform or the foundation for which all of our school was grown out of. And that's the only reason. It wasn't because I don't love public school. I'm a public school teacher. I will be in public school until 30 years, maybe 30 plus, who knows? Or that is my goal. My two older children went through high school and graduated. Alana went up to 4th grade, but Jackson has never been to public school. He has always homeschooled. So it wasn't anything wrong in the public school. I just wanted that Christian education base. So that was why we decided in the church that I'm a part of, we were doing a homeschool co-op and everybody was getting on board with homeschool. I actually thought I would be the only parent that was unable to participate because I was the only single parent at the meeting or in the room. And as it turns out, my family and only one other family were able to join the homeschool co-op. And it worked out for us. We were in that co-op for 3 years, I think. And then my kids, have now been in homeschool for 5 years. And we're going into our 6th year. So we have been blessed by it. It has worked out for us. It has really worked times when I've needed to be gone and we can pack up our school and go. I can travel school, we can car school, we can, they're not missing days if I have to be gone. Like when my mom was sick, I had to be out for a little bit of time. So if I need to take my children, all we have to do is pack up their computers and we can take school on the road with us. It has worked out beautifully. Sometimes we have to summer school and we still want a vacation. We can still take our things with us. Or I've had even instances where I've needed the kids to be gone in the middle of the year because I might have had a business trip or something and they have had to be with family because they couldn't stay here alone. So we've packed up school and we have traveled them wherever they've needed to be. And so it has just worked out well for our family. So another question says, I know you've been doing keto for a while. I'm reading the questions over here off my computer, so that's why I keep looking. I know you've been doing keto for a while. Is it hard sticking to it? What advice would you give somebody just starting? So Sticking to it is a mindset. It's a matter of mindset. You have to think about what's best for you and your family and your finances and your overall picture of the health you want. Today, and you can't see this because I'm sitting down, I'm wearing a pair of shorts. I never wear shorts because I have only owned one pair of shorts, and somebody gifted me these, and I put them on. And I walked out of the house. I went to the P.O. box and to do a few errands, and I was like, I'm wearing shorts. For me, this is totally outside of my comfort zone because my body shape is not a shorts shape, but my keto body is much better. Am I at the desired weight I want to be? Absolutely not. But I'm under 200 pounds for the first time in over 25 years, consistently under 200 pounds. And I'll take that as a win. It's not hard for me to stick to it because my mind is made up to be on a keto lifestyle. But I also am able to find dupes for what I want to eat. So we had family over this weekend. They came over to see Beauty, and I made keto shrimp and grits. I used cauliflower to make the grits, and they were wonderful. I almost had a weak moment because my mom will eat grits or she'll eat oatmeal. Now, I don't eat oatmeal for any reason, but I love grits. And I have had these packages of grits in the house, and I'm like, this is why I don't have stuff in my house, because I want to eat it. And I had to find an alternative for me and for the kids. I didn't even know if the kids would like it. They loved it. So I'm not depriving myself of the foods I want to eat or used to eat. I'm just finding an alternative for them. Again, it's a mindset. I was at a meeting this morning, and we were waiting for one of the coworkers to come to the meeting, and he just wasn't showing up. It's very uncharacteristic of him not to be there. And finally, a phone call came into the office and said he was in the hospital. He had a medical situation this morning, and I just messaged our secretary to say, hey, any word? He's had a stroke. So I think about things like that. I'm a single parent. If I have a stroke in my house, it's just me and my children. Luckily for him, he's married. He has a family, a wife who can, get him where he needs to be. But I'm here with my children and my elderly sick mom. I need to be as healthy as I can be. And when I think about that portion of it, it's not difficult to maintain a keto lifestyle for me. Now, as far as counting macros, I'm what's considered lazy keto, but I'm strict keto foods. I only eat keto approved foods, and that works for me. So as a beginner, somebody who is just starting out, this will be the hardest thing you'll ever have to do. That is, go through your pantry, go through your cabinets, your fridges and your freezers, and clean anything out that is not keto. Because if it is in the house, you will justify in your mind why you have to eat it. Because you're throwing away your money, and I spent a lot of money on this, and it's too good to be throw it away. I found people that could take the unused items that were not doing keto and wanted those unused items. We were able to donate some food. Whatever we had open, we just took a loss on that and tossed it, and it is what it was. The other thing is I had to eat the same things like bacon and eggs and cheese. I had to start somewhere. I couldn't make it too heavy for me. I couldn't do all the recipes in the beginning. I had to pick the foods I could eat, and then slowly over time, I was able to meal prep and add in some recipes. The other thing that I would say, of course, before you try anything, consult your physician to make sure that you are able to do what you need to do medically. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist. This is my journey. It's worked well for me, but you want to be healthy and do what you need to do. I just picked people on YouTube that I liked. I'm a tuber. I find videos, and I find grocery hauls and different things, and I see what people are doing. Two huge people for me, as far as not huge and big, but as far as keto big, that I followed was Shelly over at Shelly's Home Life, and then Mrs. Erica over at Mrs. Erica. And Keto Connect was another big one. There are a lot of other ones out here that people follow. I don't need a whole lot. I don't need to overstimulate my mind with too much. So I've just found the people that I could relate to. I had always watched Shelly, even when she was doing Weight Watchers, and when she changed over and I was seeing her progress, it just was like, Shakima, something about what she's saying makes sense. So then I started watching Dr. Berry and Dr. Berg and different little videos. Now I don't focus on it heavy. I have to do my own research. I'm quick with it. I try to find things that are sustainable for me, and I do that. Also, as far as keto is concerned, I have to plan. I have to prep my meals or plan my meals. I have to know what I'm gonna cook or what I'm gonna eat, and if I'm going somewhere and it's not keto friendly, I take something with me. Nuts, cheese, meat, something. This past Thanksgiving, my mom was doing Thanksgiving at her house. The very first time she'd ever done Thanksgiving. So, of course, that meant I was going to be going and doing all the cooking. I was doing all the non-keto cooking, and everybody was bringing a dish to pass. But I had to make a decision in my mind, and I made a whole keto Thanksgiving meal for me. And I said, if it's just me that eats it, I'm going to have keto Thanksgiving, because I wasn't going to sit there and not eat. So I made the turkey, which everybody can have, but I made keto stuffing, I made keto macaroni and cheese, I made keto dessert, and that's what I had. We had greens, and everybody else brought whatever, and I ate what I could that was keto friendly of what people brought, but I took my own food because I did not want, did it cost me extra money? Yes, but I didn't want to be there giving into the temptation to eat whatever because I didn't have anything I could eat, and I'll start tomorrow. Starting tomorrow is probably the biggest enemy to any program. I'll start tomorrow. I haven't been to the gym in 7 months because I can go tomorrow, but this week I'm getting my rear end back in the gym. I'm paying for the membership. I need to use it. So, you know, I'm having to work around my schedule of how I need to be here for my mom and everything, but I still got to get in the gym because tomorrow will never come if it's always tomorrow. So set a goal, stay consistent to that goal, get people around you that support you. There were so many people that said, oh, keto is not sustainable long term. You're not going to be able to do it. It's unhealthy. And a year later, they're saying, oh my God, you look so good. Oh my God, I can't believe how much weight you lost. Oh, you know, they were not fans in the beginning, but they're fans now. They haven't changed their lifestyle, but this is working for me. And so this is what I am doing. I've said a lot, but again, you have to make it up in your mind. You can't do everything at one time. Just do the pieces that are, you know, bite-sized pieces. Chunk it together. I'm going to stay within my macros. Carb Manager is a free app that I use to stay within my macros. Shelly, Mrs. Erica, Marriage and Motherhood is another channel that I follow pretty closely on her keto journey. So just pick a place and start, you know, but don't, here's the other thing, you can't give yourself grace every day because you can't have a, you know, there's willpower at some point. Well, I messed up today, I'll get back on tomorrow. Or you mess up tomorrow and you gotta at some point make a decision. There's a question about vacation tips. I'll have to look that one up because I have not. For I don't know if this is helpful, but we always go on vacation in the off season. I usually take my kids to an indoor water park resort, and we go in the off season. I go in October, November, or December because when it's hot, the rates are high. When it's October, November, normally we go in November, but I can get a suite for $59 a night. So I try to go in the off season, and it's indoor, it's enclosed, so it's not cold, we're not outside, and they can have all the water park fun they want, but I go in the off season. So I don't really have a lot of tips on that because we don't take a lot of vacations and we go to the same places every time, but we're going to change that really soon. The next question was, how does it feel when your children leave for college or just start their own life? My oldest is about to be a senior in high school. So, you know, I have always told my children 18 is your number. You have to have a plan for life because you cannot live here after you're 18. And people say, oh my God, you kick your kids out. No, I do not kick my kids out. I just help them to negotiate their next steps. And I have a way of crafting it so that they make a good decision. Now, they have a couple decisions. They can go to college if they want to. If they go to community college, they can still live at home. But what I have found is when my children turned 18, they wanted to be grown adults. And grown adults can't live in this house that don't pay bills. Because if you pay bills, then you get a say. And because I don't want to hear what they have to say, I don't let them pay bills here. So their senior year of high school, I have them sit down and I say, let's make a plan for life. And then they have to plan if they want to move out, where they're moving to, and they have to take on all their expenses. And we sit down and we write the numbers out. They have to tell me how many hours they're going to work, all the things. Once they do that and they see how expensive it is to live on their own, then we talk options. They have community college, which my daughter went to community college for the first 2 years, my oldest. She is now in graduate school. She's in her master's program. She is a first year. She just finished her first year teaching kindergarten. So she is a teacher. So, but she is in her master's program, but she started at community college. She lived on her own. After we did all the numbers, she worked 3 jobs to put her, to get all the money she needed for her place. My son, on the other hand, who was not ready for college, he was academically inclined, but he was just not mature enough to handle college life, and there's no need to pay all that money to not be academic, to not be mature enough to handle that. Chose to do something different. So he went straight to work, and because he went straight to work, he's able to then put his money to the side. And as he gets a little bit older, he's 23 now, when he decides he wants to go to college, now he has that option for college. I didn't feel any type of way when my children left home because I had prepared them ahead. We are very close as a family. Sometimes they want to exercise their freedom, but if they don't get to acting right, I will dial their phone and say, is your phone broke? Did you forget to call me? What's going on? I try not to be in their business because they are adults, but we have a close relationship. So it doesn't matter what I'm doing or what they're doing. If we need to family meet, we family meet. They're fairly close. My son is within an hour of me. My daughter is within 3 hours. We can FaceTime. We can chit chat. I just got off the phone with my older daughter. She was asking me some questions. Mom, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? We just keep each other abreast of what's going on. But I have raised them to be adults, to be financially stable, to be productive citizens. Don't bring no children up in here that you're not trying to take care of without a husband or a wife. That's not. I'm a strict parent, and what I feel on my convictions, I have lived those convictions. My children have never seen a Uncle so-and-so around here. I've not dated. They've never seen me date. They just haven't seen a lot of things. And I say all that to say, I've just put some huge questions out there with my son. I say, okay, what happens if you go out and you get yourself into some trouble and you come home and say, Mom, I got a baby on the way. Okay, I hear you. And I'm that parent that's going to make him pay his support and pay for his child. But what happens when you find the wife you want to marry and 37.5% of her income has to go to your child of somebody else? I'm asking hard questions. I'm not judging anybody's life on nothing. I'm not saying you can't be a single parent. I'm a single parent. But I know that life because 37.5% of my ex-husband's income comes to this household. And I know he struggles, and his new wife, they're struggling, and I hate it. It's not coming to me. I work a job, but it's coming to pay for his children. And that was a decision, that was a very adult decision to make when he decided to leave our family, and he has to live with the consequences of that. And he's got quite a few more years before Jackson is 18 or out of high school. So we all live with the decisions we. I ask them hard questions. Okay, what happens if you cannot pay your rent? Where you gonna live? Because you can't live here. And so that gets the wheels on their bus turning. Like, I better act right or I better remember what Mama told me about my money. That kind of thing. And it's not to be harsh or mean to them. If my children need me, I'm there for them, but I'm raising them to be self-sufficient and not to have to lean on me. My grandparents always told us, you can live here, but when you move out, you moved out. That's it. And I never I never went back home after I moved out of my grandparents' house. That was it. I was out. 17, I was on my own, and I have lived on my own, with the exception of 6 months. We lived with my ex-husband's mother because she was having some financial difficulty, and we went to help her get herself back together. But I will never do that again. I will never be unfinancially stable again. That was a tough time in my life, and so we won't be doing that again. But they go off, they live their life. My daughter, like I said, is in grad school. She wants to go for her doctorate's degree. I'm there for every significant time of their lives. Here's another question. I'm a teacher's assistant, and I also work August to June. How much do you put away during the working months for July and August? And I actually get that paycheck in June and July. So out of my paycheck every month, $343 comes out of my check. It goes into my credit union, which that gives me $1,965 for June and July. Since when we go back in August, I'll get the August paycheck at the end, and that'll be a full check. So June is $1,965 and July is $1,965. So last day of the month, we only get paid once a month. So $343 goes into that account, and they take it out every month. I don't even have to do anything. It's just set up through the credit union. They know to take it out, and it's what we've done for the past several years. That is just how it has worked. Why don't you do cover songs on my channel? Godly songs, of course. One of the things is I don't want to get into any trouble with YouTube with copyright, so I just stay away from stuff like that. I just keep little, instrumental tunes that are free to use. I just don't want to get any dings on my channel, so I just don't. I don't pay for music. I use the free music that I can find. I'm sure over time, as my channel grows, I may be able to find some additional musics, but I try to keep it pretty simple on the channel because I just don't want to get any copyright infringements or whatever. Next question says, how do you feel overall with your mom going through everything? From my standpoint as a caregiver, do I feel like some of the weight is lifted off by having the nurses come in? I'm a nurse, so I wonder, does it really help? Also, I like to know how you and your family are dealing with it all. It has been a challenge, to say the least. And the reason is, I've shared this before. I'm 43 years old, and my mom and I have really we have not had a relationship in almost 33 years. I came to live with her parents when I was 10 years old. And I lived with them until I was 14. Then I went to live with my mom again. And I lived with her until I was 17. And she got into some trouble that got us evicted from our home. But fortunately for me, I had some help to get me some housing of my own at 17. So I've been on my own since I was 17. And we have not been in fellowship since. Well, with her being sick and being an only child, what else can you do? And I really felt the Lord tugging on me to provide a place for her, to give her a semblance of family, what family could really be like. And I feel like I've done that to the best of my ability. It is a challenge because she is really sick. And we are doing all the care, but all the care doesn't fall on me. The kids are here to help. Shamika will come in at some points. Now, she's very close to Shamika. Her and Shamika are close. Not so much my younger 3 children, because we moved away when the kids were very small, and Jackson wasn't even born, and Alana was only, she was little. So it is a challenge. With hospice, the nurse comes in twice a week. She's here maybe 30 minutes. The aide comes in 3 times a week. She's here maybe 30 to 45 minutes, an hour at most, but hardly ever, to give her bath. So they're not here a lot. And I'm administering all the medications. I'm making sure she's eating, or I'm saying, hey, she's not eating. What can we do? I have to give all the pain meds. I have to give everything. I'm doing it, or the kids are helping. So they haven't been overly helpful in the doing of the things, more than they have been just, I know they're coming and they will come out if we need additional support. So hospice is different than having like home health come in. We just don't have that luxury. We can't go anywhere all together as a family because she can't be left on her own. So we have to make sure that somebody is always here with her. So it is disrupting our family time because we're not used to that. Before she came, when you saw me, you saw all my kids or both my kids. Now you don't always see that. So that's a little bit disruptive. Then you feel like, okay, I'm doing what I feel is best, but maybe somebody else thinks they know better than what you know. So that is also a challenge. How do you deal with the people who think they know better than you, but you're the one giving the care? So that has been a challenge. Or the people who come to visit, because I live about 2 hours from my closest relative, who come to visit, but then they go home and then they don't have any of the day-to-day what we're doing, or they say, oh, hey, I'll come over and sit with her, or I need to go somewhere and I'm trying to find somebody who can come here to be with her, and I can't find anybody, and then I'm having to rearrange my whole plan. So it has been a challenge to try to get people to understand your whole life is disrupted. And that is something that, because the expectation is, as her child, I'm supposed to do it. But that's not how I see it. My grandparents raised me, and when my grandfather was in his final days of illness, I was with him for the last 8 days of his life. I stayed with him 24 hours a day for 8 days in the hospital with him. I did not leave his side. I was there because they took care of me, him and my grandmother. They cared for me when nobody else did care for me. And here's this woman who is my biological mom. I get that, but she didn't do any of that for me. So how do you reconcile that in your mind? First of all, you just give it over to the Lord and say, Lord, you got to help me because I don't know how to do this in my human self, but I'll do this in your strength. And it is, it's a challenge. Again, like I said, people can come and visit. The aunts and uncles, they came and visited on Saturday. They stayed a couple hours and they left. And my mom has been recovering for 2 days from their visit. She has been in the bed. She has not been able to get up very much to go to the bathroom. But her energy is gone from a quick, 2-3 hour visit. I did all the cooking for the people who came, and just, we did all the things that needed to be done. So it is a challenge, to say the least. But God is faithful through it all. So I just have to give him all the glory and thank him for the strength that's renewed every day. If we don't faint, he renews us every day. I don't sleep at night because she's up at night. She sleeps all day and then she's up at night. So her timings are off. She's kind of like a baby, right? Sometimes she can't get up off the toilet, so I have to help her with that. I'm thankful that the nurses come in and give her bath, so I don't have to do that portion of it. But it is different. It is very different. It's not what I thought it would be. I guess it is, but I've never been with anyone in their final stages of life on my own at home, because we were getting ready to bring my grandfather home, and I was going to move back home from where I was living in Charlotte at the time. I was going to move back home with my family, with my husband and children, so that I could be close to take care of him, and he passed. So I did not end up having to move back. And I would have done that for him. I would have done anything for my grandfather and my grandparents, because that is just who they were to me. They did anything for me. They took me in. But again, it's a challenge. I do have two really good ladies at my church that have gone through taking care of parents. Well, one lady, Ma J, she took care of her mother after the storm here that we had, Florence, the hurricane last year. Her mom's total house got flooded out, so she had to bring her mom in to live with her, and her mom was already having some medical issues, so she knows what it's like to take care of a parent. And then another friend, Miss Cindy, actually took care of her husband's parents. not her parents, because her father had passed away, but her mom is able to be self-sufficient. But her husband's parents, who actually lived next door to them, were ill. The mom got sick first, and then the dad got sick, and she stepped in to take care of his parents full time, quit her job. And so I'm able to talk to those two ladies back and forth and talk about what I'm going through or how it is. And you know, the one thing I always have in the back of my mind is how is this all affecting my children. I do not want them negatively affected, because sometimes it just gets so much and you're like, what, I need a minute, you know, I'm tired. I went to bed last night, and it seems like every time I get in the bed, she wants to wake up, and that's because she slept all day, and I'm dog tired, and I'm like, I need to sleep, just let me sleep. And so at 1 a.m. 1:25 this morning, she was up and she moans, oh. And I'm like, okay, get up, Shakima, get up, Shakima. And I'm like, I'm so tired that I'm drunk tired, because I'm trying to get up and find my bearings and what does she need and how do I help, and got to get the medication, and I'm trying to be lucid enough to get the right medications, and then I go back to bed, and then in a couple hours she's up again, and so I'm not sleeping, and then when it's time to be up, she's asleep. It never fails. 6:30 in the morning, it's time to get up, that alarm clock is going off, and she's snoring like a baby, like she is snoring, and I'm thinking, I've only had 5 hours of sleep. How am I going to function? Because my kids have slept all night, and they, you know, I sleep in the same room with her just in case she needs something. I don't want her to fall. I don't want, you know, there to be any issues. So it is a challenge, but again, God is gracious. He helps us. So I think that was all the questions. Let me go through real fast. Yeah, that was all the questions. I don't want to give the wrong impression about my mom. It is horrible to watch someone in the final stages of their life. It is horrible to see someone unable to care for themselves. And I have prayed, Lord, please don't let this be my final outcome. I want to be in my right physical condition. I want to be in my right mind. I want to be able to take care of myself until the end. Or if God blesses me with a spouse, to have somebody there to take care of me in my final days. That's my prayer. I don't want to be the burden on my children. I don't want them to have to disrupt their life. Alana will take care of me from now until I die. That is just who she is. That's that nurturing part of her. She's very nurturing with her grandmother. Jackson will take care of me until I die. That is who they are. That's who my younger kids are. My older children, Shamika will put me in a nice nursing home and make sure that I have all the creature comforts of life, and Trandon will pay for it. They are not here for the nurturing of it, but they would do their very best for me. But I pray that I'm not that on somebody. It's just a lot. When I go back to work, I'm like, Lord, how am I going to work and still take care of her? I can't afford to stay home with her and take care of her. So that's when, you know, right now my aunt and I are trying to find a nursing facility that might be able to take her so that I don't have to worry about working. I have to work in order to sustain and maintain my household. I remember when the hospice nurse came over for the very first time, we were doing the initial intake, she's like, oh, so are you moving in here with your mom, and are the kids coming too? And I said, this is my house. You know, she couldn't understand how, you know, she thought this was my mom's house. I said, this is my home. This is where I live. So in order to maintain the things that we have in my home and my, you know, my life with my children, I have to work. And that is just how it is for me. She does not have enough income for me to stay home and manage her money. And I don't have enough income without working. So we're trying to find a situation that might be better. My aunt would like her transferred closer to where the family is, which means I would have to travel if I wanted to see her, which, you know, it is what it is. But then they'll see what it's like for me to say, oh, I can't come this week because I have X, Y, and Z. I have crafted my whole life around what she needs and how I can figure this out in my schedule. And they don't understand that. And that's fine. They will at some point. But we yet keep moving on. And again, like I said, God is gracious and he is good. So anywho, I wanted to answer those last few questions because I couldn't see them for some reason. YouTube must have been acting weird yesterday. I just could not see those questions, and I wanted to make sure that I answered everything that everybody asked to the best of my ability. I love chit chat videos. They're some of my favorite. I was going to chit chat and fold laundry, but the laundry is still going. I don't know if you can hear the dryer, but the dryer's going, the fridge is going crazy, and I've got to get ready to do a live video because I'm getting ready to do some cooking. So anywho, there it is. I hope I did answer your questions. If you have any further questions, leave them down in the comment section, and I'll answer them as best as I can. Maybe I'll do a few more chit chat videos. Who knows what will happen over the next little bit. But anyway, thank you guys so much for stopping by our channel. We are so blessed to have you with us, have you a part of our community. We love you guys. We hope you're doing well, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.